Hello and welcome back to What the Frick podcast. I have kind of a fun little episode. I'm not sure if fun is the right word, but I was thinking about things I could talk about on here, and I thought to myself, I have one of the craziest lives, craziest jobs that I've been doing for the past couple of years, and I haven't put too much out there about it. I know I've talked briefly about some of my duties, some of my jobs, but I've never really explained to other people, at least not that know me very well. Like, if you know me, you know I do crazy things, but I've never really fully put it out there on how insane I am when it comes to my jobs. So to kind of like come back to the beginning here, just for a brief moment of context, I started working for the NFL 7 years ago in a part-time seasonal position. I started in Seattle, I then went to Vegas, and then I went to Arizona. And then 4 years ago, I started working for the MLB, doing the same thing with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Between all of those gigs, I have my freelance LLC, which I do photo and video and social media type work for random companies, random organizations, whether I find them or they find me. I've just been all over the place. And to bring us back to today, I also have a full-time job that I do while freelancing and while doing other random things. So I kind of wanted to just go into some of the more insane things I've done for work. And it's funny because I have a lot of friends who just have a very normal, like full-time 9 to 5 type job, and that's like their only form of income, which nothing wrong with that, but like that's what they do. Like, they go to work Monday through Friday, they have their nights, they have their weekends, and that's them. Whereas I have always been more of someone who I work a little bit every day. Sometimes I work more than 12 hours. Sometimes I don't have a day off just because I'm always up to something. And I've had a supervisor refer to me as a hustler, like you're a hustler, like you're out here doing the most. And not to be ashamed of that, because I'm not ashamed of it, but like I've always just thrived in a more chaotic environment, and I enjoy being productive and doing a lot of things. So, to bring us back to the main plot here, I want to just go over a couple of instances where I have been insane. So, when was this? This was probably in 2022. I was working for ASU Athletics in Arizona. I was living in Arizona, and at the time, I was also working for the NFL in Vegas. So I would go to Las Vegas Raider games every other Sunday whenever they had a home game. And the role that I had with ASU was a full-time job, and it required me to go to pretty much every ASU football game, whether it was a home game, and then most away games. So there was an away game where college football plays Saturday nights. Like, high school football is Friday nights, college football is Saturday nights, NFL is Sunday. That's just the way God made it. I don't know why. But to bring us back, so there was a weekend where ASU was playing USC, Southern California, and they had a game in Southern California on a Saturday night at like 8 o'clock at night. And the way that these college games work is you'll fly in like day of, night before sometimes, and then you'll do the game on the day, and then that same night you fly back. So a lot of the times you are getting out of a game, and college games go longer than NFL games. So if you have an 8 o'clock start time, you are likely getting out of there around 11, midnight. Just depends on, how the game goes. But I remember thinking about this situation because I had a Las Vegas Raiders game the next day at 1 o'clock. And what I had been doing is I had been flying back to Las Vegas for these games because my parents lived there at the time. So it was easy because I had tons of airline points. I would fly to Vegas. It's a very quick flight, like 42 minutes to be exact. I had a free place to stay with my family. So what I would usually do is I would fly back to Las Vegas on like a Friday night, stay there through Sunday, and then fly back Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever. But I couldn't really do that when I had to go work this college football game. So did I think to myself, I'm going to get out of one of these games? This is impossible. Absolutely not. I flew to Southern California in LA, did the entire football game there, got back on the bus at like 11:30 at night, went to the airport, flew back on a private plane. You land, you have to get off. They drive you back to the like football facility, got in my car, drove back to my apartment. At this point, it's like 2 a.m. maybe. I remember just making sure I had pre-packed my bags for Vegas. But in order to make the time for the Vegas Raiders, because kickoff is at 1, but you are required to be there 4 hours early. You have to get there for arrivals and all this stuff. So I had to be at the arena by like 9 a.m. So what I would usually do is, like I said, I would fly there early, like Friday night. But I was like, okay, well, I have to be there by 9 a.m. So I think I had like a 6:30 a.m. flight from Phoenix to Vegas, which got me there around 7:38 in the morning. And then my parents just picked me up, drove me straight to the arena, which is only like a 15-minute drive. And then I did the whole game, spent the night in Vegas, flew back the next day. But I essentially like didn't sleep because I knew the whole time I was going to be doing this. When I got back to my apartment from the college football game at like 2 a.m, it was very much like, okay, I'm going to quickly shower. I'm going to try to sleep. But if I have a 6:30 a.m. flight, I have to be at the airport by like, 5:30? That's like cutting it close, going through security, and then it boards a half hour early. So I'm pretty sure I got up around like 4:30. So I think I don't even know if I slept, maybe an hour. And then I'm getting on the flight, being super tired. My mom had packed me a Celsius energy drink, a bunch of like Goldfish snacks, because I knew, I'm like, if I just like keep eating little bursts of snacks throughout the day, like I should be fine. And I've been doing this for such a long time that like it's not new to me. It's kind of like muscle memory. And that's what I did. I did the entire NFL game on like an hour of sleep. My parents picked me up, said, there's no way you're driving home. And I remember going to bed that night at like 10 o'clock. I was like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And yeah, that was one of the insane things I've done. Another crazy thing I've done is there is a time where I had really bad food poisoning. I, to this day, still do not know what caused it, but I was extremely unwell. And usually this is something that maybe lasts like 1, 2, maybe 3 days. Mine lasted over 2 weeks, and it got to a point where I could not get into a doctor's office, which that's a whole other topic of discussion, is the healthcare system in America, which I really can't get into. But I could not get into a doctor's office. I could only get into an urgent care, to which they were just like, yeah, you have food poisoning, like deal with it. And at this point, it was like a week before Thanksgiving. So I fly to Vegas because, again, that's where my parents lived at the time. I could not eat anything because I was still so sick. Like, when I say I wasn't eating, like, I quite literally had I would just drink water. I was so afraid to eat anything because things just weren't good, you know? I get to Vegas and my parents are like, hey, let's take you to the doctor. I got into a doctor there, thank God. The doctor sees me, goes, hey, like, you for sure have food poisoning, but I actually think it's salmonella poisoning, which I guess is like much worse. And he was like, what should have happened was you should have been given antibiotics and this would have been gone in a couple of days. But you're already 2 weeks in. It's kind of run its course. At this point, you just gotta like let it be. You'll be fine again in a few days. And I was like, awesome, great, love that. So I didn't really eat anything on Thanksgiving. I think I had like half a piece of turkey. What did I even eat? I don't even know. I was afraid to eat. And I had an NFL game the next day because it's freaking Thanksgiving, you know? Like, this is what happens. And usually for NFL games, I'm getting up, I'm eating a full breakfast, I'm bringing water, I'm bringing snacks. They usually feed us at halftime or give us food. It's like a 9-hour day and you're running around. So I was like, okay, I'm usually eating a ton, but I was so afraid to put anything into my body that could possibly cause me to be unwell while on the field or throw up or something. So I did not eat a single thing that day except water. And even that I was like being careful about until I got home, because I was like, I don't want to risk it. And like my body was exhausted from, having food poisoning, from having no food or energy in it. But I was like, I am not going to miss this game. And to this day, in my 7 years of working for the NFL, I have only ever missed one NFL game, and that was due to a friend's wedding that was in Italy that I physically could not get back for. Like, I would have had to have left the wedding early with the time change and everything. And so that's something I've always been proud about, is like, hey, most people that have this job will miss 1 or 2 games a season just because of life that gets in the way. But in my 7 years, I quite literally had food poisoning. I took like not a red eye, but I took like a morning flight after being awake all night. Like, I did pretty much anything to make this job work. And I always got through it. No matter how tired or how overwhelmed I felt, I always found a way. All right, pivoting from my crazy NFL stories, I have just had days where when people say they work 12-hour days, I truly mean it. I have had days where when I had my full-time job with ASU Athletics, I was also working for MLB for a short overlap period. So I would have to get to these MLB games around 3:30, and I would be there until 11 o'clock at night. So in order to get to my job at 3:30, I had to get to my other job at 6:30. So I would get to my ASU job at 6:30, work all day there, leave, go straight from there to the ballpark, and then be there for 8 hours or so. So I was quite literally pulling 14-hour days or so by getting up around 5:30, going to work, working, leaving. I would not see my bed, see my home for hours at a time. And this is something I still continue to do, just in a different capacity. I don't have that job with ASU anymore. It was a terrible, terrible place to work. Hold a story about that for another time. But there are days where I'll still do things like this. And for example, I've done things where it's hey, you're going to go, I teach Pilates as a hobby job, for example. I'll go teach Pilates in the morning, and then I'll run from there to my full-time job. And then from there, I was asked to go do a freelance job in downtown Phoenix. So I'll be gone from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., get to work at 10 a.m., work from 10 to 5, go straight from there to another gig in the city, and then work there from 5 to 9. It is just, it's a time and a half. And when I tell my friends about these types of things, they're like, why do you do this? And I did this just last week, for example. I was asked to work for NBA on Prime. The Phoenix Suns were in the playoff tournament, and they were like, hey, you want to come do this? Tip off is at 7. We need you here 3 hours early. And I was like, absolutely. So to get to a game at 4 p.m., I think I got to work around 7 so that I could leave by 3:30, go straight from work to downtown Phoenix to the arena, get there by 4. Tip off is at 7, so I would do, random things from 4 to 7, like warm-ups, do the game from 7 to 9:30, 10, do the post-game stuff, get in my car, drive through traffic back home by 11:30. When I say it out loud, it's funny, even though it's really not. But these are the types of things I still do. And I did this just last week twice. I did this twice in 1 week. And it's really nice when things do fall on a day where I don't have a million things going on. But I will never say no to something just because I'm wow, that's going to make my day 14 hours long. I'll be okay, I'm going to make it work. And another crazy circumstance, which I will end this on, is I got invited to go to a women's prison 1 or 2 months ago as a shooting opportunity to capture some stuff on film, and the prison was like an hour away because like there aren't prisons in Scottsdale, Arizona. You have to like go far out. So had to get there, drive there in traffic, be there, do it. Came from work. Like there are seriously days where I will leave my apartment at like 6 a.m. and I will not come home until close to midnight. And like obviously I'm finding ways to eat throughout the day, whether I'm packing food or grabbing food or something. But the days are long, but I always feel so fulfilled and so like, wow, I did that. And I'm not gonna lie, like the days leading up to it, I'm like anxious. I'm like, oh my God, that day's gonna be so long. How am I gonna get through it? Sometimes I don't sleep the night before because I'm like overwhelmed by the thought of what I have going on the next day, which makes me even more tired. But in the end, I always know, hey, you're going to get through it. You're going to make it work. You've never not made something work. So it sounds overwhelming, but like it's going to be fine. And at the end of the day, I'm doing things that I love. If I didn't like going to NBA games, if I didn't like flying, to different states for football games, if I didn't like the things I did, I wouldn't do it. I am being paid like a substantial amount of money because freelance work does involve like a higher rate of pay, which is very nice. Like I'm not just doing something for like $20 an hour. I'm making like a very good amount of money, so that helps. And I love just feeling like I'm grinding, like I'm getting things done. I love feeling productive. It's actually gotten to a point where like days where I don't have a work event or something where it's just me and my thoughts, I'm overwhelmed and I'm like depressed because I'm like, wow, I should be out doing something. I should be out making money. Even if I just have like one little thing that day. Like I had a week where I had off from my full-time job for holidays. So I called a Pilates studio that I teach for. I said, hey, can I take your classes? Because the thought of me not working today is like overwhelming to me. So like I would rather come in for 3 hours, teach some classes, have some fun, make some money, than sit at home and relax and like be by myself. And people are like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just be? And like I'm honestly working on it. I should probably go to therapy, but like for now, I haven't hit 30 yet. Maybe when I hit 30, I'll calm down a bit. But I love looking back on the month and being like, this is what I accomplished. This is what I did. This is what I make work. This is the amount of money I made from all of my hard work. Like it all goes towards something and goes toward a goal. And I love doing that. And that's why for me, traveling is so important. And I have a lot of these podcasts that are around my travels because I work really hard. I grind really hard. I use that money. I go on a fun trip and I have fun. And like I do save it for, retirement and, buying houses hopefully one day and other things. But I work hard so that I can have fun, so that when Taylor Swift announces another tour, I can afford it without blinking. So that if I want to go to London for Christmas and visit the Christmas markets, I don't have to think twice about it. I work very hard so that I can do all of these things. And to a lot of people, it sounds insane. 'Cause it's like, oh my God, I have one job and I can't even keep up with my 9 to 5. You have a 9 to 5, plus you teach Pilates, plus you have a freelance business. Like, it's just a lot. So, will I one day relax? I will let you guys know. For now, the answer is no. And to top off this podcast, I was invited to a sports marketing conference next month where I'm going to actually talk about a photo I took that went viral. And I was invited there as a guest, so I get a free ticket to the conference. And I'm excited to talk with and meet other sports creatives. But it's always been kind of like not a dream of mine, but I think it'll be fun to kind of sit in front of people who are literally listening to me speak and give insight into the knowledge that I've accumulated over the past 7 years. And I was invited because I had a photo go viral during the NBA playoffs and they want me to talk about it. So it's nothing crazy, no like giant TED talk or anything, but I am excited to go. I'm excited to meet other like-minded creative individuals in the sports world, make more connections, maybe get some more freelance jobs out of it, or just kind of fun to have a good time as well. So that is something I am excited for, and just wanted to share it with you guys. So thank you for listening. I will have more episodes coming up soon. Okay, bye.